Dana Gray here with IceHogs General Manager Mark Bernard in front of the Rockford Hockey Fights Cancer Night here at the BMO Center. First, let me just say, Bernie, it is so good to see you, my friend. I know it's been a wild 3 months for you. Can you share a little bit with the IceHogs community what's gone on in your life, especially this fall?
Yeah, it's definitely been a crazy few months, and it is good to be back at the BMO. And it kind of goes back, my story back to 2011. I started having a lot of autoimmune issues, which kind of came to a melting point in 2018. And Rocky Wirtz and his good friend Jeff Fender made a point of getting me into the Mayo Clinic to deal with. And I had a disease called primary sclerosing cholangitis, and which affects your liver. And I have been going back to the Mayo for checkups every 6 months. And everything's been clear. And on August 26th, after one of my checkups, I got that phone call that everything wasn't clear, and they had found that I had cholangiocarcinoma, which is bile duct cancer. So that was a tough day to die, to swallow that pill. That you wake up that morning, you think everything's going to be just a regular day, and all of a sudden you end it finding out that you have cancer. I think the one thing that hockey has prepared me for is a lot of different adversity. And he asked me on the Monday morning, he said, "How are you doing stress-wise? How are you approaching this week?" And I kind of looked at that week like I was playing 5 playoff games in a row. And I said, I started preparing for Monday on Sunday night. And when I get done the tests on Monday, I'm going to, shut my brain off, have a bite to eat, and then I'll start preparing for Tuesday. And that's kind of what my wife and I did all week. And then we got the news on Friday afternoon that it had not spread, which was the best possible news we could have had. And then they had me back on, we reported there on October 19th, where I was there for a month, doing radiation and chemotherapy 5 days a week. So I got to ring the bell on Wednesday that I was done my radiation treatment. I will continue on my chemotherapy for the next 4 or 5 months. Then I'm waiting on a phone call, and the thing that, does bother me, and I've talked to my wife about it, is that, some other family has to go through something horrific for me to be able to get a liver. And for me, that's tough to think about, that someone's going to go through, something, someone's father or son or daughter, mother, will have to pass for me to be able to carry on. But, that's unfortunately the way this world works. And, I can't think about that. That's still 4 months away, and we just got to get through every day and hope that this doesn't spread.
Let me just take a moment to say I think it's pretty incredible that with all that you're going through, at the front of your mind is thinking about others and what someone might be going through. And I know that, as you said, that is part of the process, and there are more steps to go. But as we chat today, how's your body feeling? You rang that bell on Wednesday. That must have been a pretty filled moment for you and your family. But as you're back here at the BMO, how are you feeling?
I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I've got to be careful. They said for the next, 2-3 weeks after the radiation, that I will be feeling that way, and it'll depend, as they up my dosage on the chemotherapy, how I continue to feel. But, the one thing that's been fantastic is the support I get from Danny Wirtz, Kyle Davidson, Jamie Faulkner. The entire Blackhawk organization has been, from day one when I brought them this news, it was, do not worry about your job, do not worry about anything, just get better. And, I'm just wired the way that if I'm not at work, I feel like I'm letting someone down. And, whether I'm, that's how I felt since 2011 when I started dealing with some things. But Danny and Kyle and Jamie have been tremendous in making sure that I get my rest. And, Kyle even said, if you see 5 hockey games this year, that's fine. Like, I'm worried, just get better. That's the main focus here. And which, that helps put you at ease. And I've had a great support group. People like Eddie Olczyk and Troy Murray and Tony Granato have all reached out to me quite a bit. And they've fought this battle in, very, not in the, in they've fought this battle in lately, and they know what it's like to go through, and they just make sure that I know that I'm not alone in this, and that I have a lot of support. And and Eddie Olczyk said it the other night on the broadcast, and I think it's the biggest thing for people to recognize is because you do feel alone at times. Like, even though you have support, you do feel alone, and you're not. You have support. Like, I get guys from the dressing room, the players texting me, and knowing what I was going up against the first home game when we had our first win, and Brett Sini presenting me with their welder's helmet that they usually give the players of the game for their hard work and battle and commitment, and meant the world to me. And as I said to those guys, when I can be here, I'm going to be here, because this is what makes me feel better. Being at the rink, watching hockey, it's put the wins and losses in perspective, that's for sure. But this is, other than being home with my family, this is my happy place.
You mentioned Tony, Troy, Eddie, three guys in this Blackhawks organization that have been incredibly affected by cancer. What is it like to have that hockey community and support system? We were watching a couple of weeks ago on that TNT broadcast when Eddie O shared that message and shouted out a handful of names in the hockey community that were currently battling. Was that something that you knew was coming? And what was it like to get that message? Because it speaks volumes to the connectivity of this hockey community.
Well, Eddie's always been very good to me right from day one when I joined this organization, and he's a class act, and I didn't know that was coming. And I'd be remiss to say that I didn't mention Brian Higgins as well, whose wife Mary is in a battle herself, and was also mentioned by Eddie, and I've known Brian since 2010 when he joined our organization during the Stanley Cup Finals, and him and his family are very supportive as well. And it affects, I know it's Hockey Fights Cancer Month but this is a disease that affects everybody. Everybody seems to know someone that's been affected by this disease, and hopefully as we go forward they can continue to work hard to find a cure for it. But until then, I think it's just important that people know that they're surrounded by people that love them and are supportive of them, are going to do anything they can to help them. And and I think it's important that if you do know someone that has this disease, take 10 seconds of your day and shoot them a text. That's all it takes to make you feel better. Like, when I get a text from one of our players during the day, that just brightens my day up. And to send a text takes 10 seconds. And it lets that person know you're thinking of them and that they're not alone in this battle.
What's one thing that you've learned throughout this process, something that you will never take for granted going forward, being away from this team and this game in this city that loves you so much? What's something that's forever changed in your mind? Just
your health. You can't take that for granted at any point. As we all get older, do the tune-ups that you're supposed to do. Go to your doctor, and whether it's a mammogram or a prostate exam, like, have those tests. Make sure that you're doing that for yourself. Don't wait until it's too late. And your health, though, is something you can't take for granted. And especially, you have families you want to be around to walk your daughter down the aisle or see your son get married and things like that. And so don't wait till it's too late to think, oh, I should have had that test or exam done.
Your wife, Julie, has been with you through every single step from the jump. I remember when we chatted months ago about this, and one of the first things you brought up was how she is going to be there for you with every appointment, every road trip, every call. What has her support meant to you these 3 months and going back for your decades and decades of marriage?
She's been a rock. She makes me laugh, like when we probably talk about morbid things that's just to make ourselves laugh. We've known each other since she was 5 years old and I was 7. Started dating at 15 and been married for 32 years, and she's a friggin' rock star. Like, to keep all her wits about her and still be there for our kids and everything that I need right now. And there's no way I could ever get through this without her. And I wouldn't have the career that I've had without her, with all the moves and different places this game has taken me. But we're both in this battle together, and she's been a rock star through it.
Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks.
Thank you for your honesty, your vulnerability. Let me just say that this place, this city, this team is far better when you're around it, and we're all really, really happy to see you here.
I love it here. You know, I've been here 18 years now, and another year coaching, and the people in Rockford have always been great to me. And, you know, I love seeing our boys win and the fans get excited. And it's a special place in my heart, and I plan on being here for a long time.
Let's go get some wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to see you, my friend.
Thanks
Thanks for doing this.